Welcome to WT History. In this series, we list all the major events that happened in the world in a year, starting from 1776 to 2024. On January 1813, the Battle of Frenchtown was fought in modern-day Monroe, Michigan. This was a brutal clash between the United States and a British Native American alliance. The U.S. forces, led by General James Winchester, were initially successful, but were later ambushed and defeated. The aftermath was grim, with many American soldiers killed in what became known as the River Raisin Massacre. In February, General William Henry Harrison attempted a daring winter expedition. His plan was to cross Lake Erie using sleighs to burn British vessels at Fort Malden, but Mother Nature had other plans. The ice wasn't thick enough, forcing the expedition to turn back. On February 11th, construction began on Fort Meigs in Ohio under Harrison's command. This fort would become a key defensive position against British and Native American forces, with Major Amos Stoddard taking charge of the artillery. On March 29th, the Republican Army of the North clashed with the Spanish Royalist Army at the Battle of Rosillo Creek. The rebels emerged victorious, marking a significant step toward Mexico's independence from Spain. On April 27th, American forces launched a daring raid on York, the capital of Upper Canada, modern-day Toronto. They succeeded in burning parts of the town, but they didn't hold it. In early May, Fort Meigs faced its first major test. British forces under General Henry Proctor, alongside Native American allies led by Chief Tecumseh, laid siege to the fort. Despite heavy bombardment, the Americans held their ground, and the siege ultimately failed. On May 27th, American forces scored a victory by capturing Fort George in Canada. This was a strategic win, but the Americans struggled to hold their gains in the face of British counterattacks. At sea, the British scored a major victory on June 1st when the HMS Shannon captured the USS Chesapeake in Boston Harbor. This was a blow to American naval pride and a reminder of Britain's dominance on the high seas. On June 6th, the British struck back on land at the Battle of Stony Creek. Despite being outnumbered 3-1, a British force of 700 under John Vincent defeated the Americans in a surprise night attack. This victory halted the American advance into Canada. In July, the British tried again to take Fort Meigs, but their second siege also failed. Starting July 5th, the British launched a series of raids on Fort Schlosser, Black Rock, and Plattsburgh in New York. These raids lasted 3 weeks and kept the Americans on the defensive. On August 30th, tragedy struck at Fort Meigs in Alabama. A faction of Creek warriors, known as the Red Sticks, attacked the fort, killing hundreds of settlers. This massacre escalated the Creek War and drew the U.S. deeper into conflict in the South. September 10th marked a turning point in the War of 1812. At the Battle of Lake Erie, Commodore Oliver Hazard Perry led an American squadron to a decisive victory, capturing 6 British ships. This win gave the U.S. control of the lake and boosted morale. On October 5th, General Harrison secured another major victory at the Battle of the Thames in Upper Canada. The British were defeated, and the legendary native leader Tecumseh was killed in battle. This was a significant blow to the British Native Alliance. Later in October, the Americans faced a setback at the Battle of the Chateauguay. Canadian forces under Charles de Salaberry successfully repelled an American invasion, showcasing the resilience of the British-Canadian defense. On November 11th, another American invasion attempt was thwarted at the Battle of Cressler's Farm. An outnumbered British-Canadian force defeated the Americans, forcing them to abandon their plans to capture Montreal. As the year drew to a close, the British struck back. On December 18th and 19th, they captured Fort Niagara and attacked Lewiston, New York. These victories marked a strong end to the year for the British. Finally, on December 29th, British forces burned Buffalo, New York, as retaliation for earlier American actions. This act of destruction left a lasting impact on the region. Amidst all the conflict, 1813 also saw the founding of the Philomathian Society at the University of Pennsylvania. This literary society is the oldest of its kind in the U.S. On February 7th, the French frigate Aréthuse clashed with the British ship HMS Amelia near the Îles de Los on the Guinea coast. Both ships fought fiercely, but neither could claim victory. The battle ended in a stalemate, with both sides retreating to fight another day. By March 4th, the French garrison in Berlin evacuated the city, allowing Russian troops to enter without a fight. On March 17th, Prussia declared war on France, joining the coalition against Napoleon. To boost morale, Prussia introduced the Iron Cross, a prestigious military award. On May 2nd, Napoleon secured a victory at the Battle of Lutzen against the German alliance. Despite heavy losses, his tactical brilliance shone through, but the cost of victory was high, and his enemies were far from defeated. Later in May, Napoleon achieved another victory at the Battle of Bautzen. Once again, he defeated the combined forces of his enemies, but the lack of a decisive blow allowed the coalition to regroup and continue the fight. On June 21st, the Peninsular War saw a major turning point at the Battle of Vitoria. A British, Spanish, and Portuguese force of 78,000, led by the Duke of Wellington, defeated Joseph Bonaparte's French army. This victory pushed the French out of Spain and marked a significant blow to Napoleon's empire. By August 12th, Austria joined the coalition, declaring war on France. On August 23rd, Napoleon suffered a defeat at the Battle of Gross-Bären. Prussian and Swedish forces successfully repelled his advance, marking a rare setback for the French emperor. Just 3 days later, on August 26th, Napoleon's troops were defeated again at the Battle of Katzbach by Prussian and Russian forces. The coalition was gaining momentum. However, Napoleon quickly bounced back at the Battle of Dresden on August 26th and 27th. His forces emerged victorious, proving that he was still a formidable opponent. But the tide turned again at the First Battle of Culm on August 29th and 30th. French Marshal Vendôme was defeated and captured by coalition forces, dealing another blow to Napoleon's campaign. On August 31st, in Spain, the Battle of San Marcial saw Spanish forces under Manuel Freire de Andrade repel Marshal Soult's last major offensive. Meanwhile, Allied troops ransacked and burned San Sebastian, leaving the town in ruins. On September 6th, Napoleon's forces were defeated again at the Battle of Dennewitz by Prussian and Russian troops. By September 17th, the Second Battle of Culm forced Napoleon to halt his advance on Teplitz and withdraw to Leipzig. The coalition's victories were piling up. The climax of 1813 came at the Battle of Leipzig, fought from October 16th to 19th. Known as the Battle of the Nations, it was one of the largest battles in European history. Napoleon's forces were defeated by the Sixth Coalition, and many German states defected from his Confederation of the Rhine. This marked the beginning of the end for Napoleon's empire. Finally, on November 21st, an independent government was restored in the Netherlands, further eroding Napoleon's influence in Europe. Before moving on, please consider subscribing if you like this series. On January 24th, the Philharmonic Society, later known as the Royal Philharmonic Society, was founded in London. Just 4 days later, on January 28th, Jane Austen's timeless novel Pride and Prejudice was published anonymously in London. Little did anyone know at the time, this book would become one of the most beloved works in English literature. On January 31st, the Assembly of the Year 13 was inaugurated in Buenos Aires. This marked a significant step in Argentina's journey toward independence, as leaders worked to establish a new government free from Spanish rule. On February 3rd, Argentine General José de San Martín and his regiment of mounted grenadiers achieved a symbolic victory against Spanish royalist forces at the Battle of San Lorenzo. Though small in scale, this battle boosted morale for the Argentine independence movement. On March 4th, Cyril VI was elected Ecumenical Patriarch of Constantinople, a significant moment for the Eastern Orthodox Church. By March 28th, the 1813 to 1814 Malta plague epidemic began to spread, having originated in Egypt. This devastating outbreak would claim thousands of lives and leave a lasting impact on the island. On May 11th, Gregory Blaxland, William Lawson, and William Wentworth embarked on an expedition to cross the Blue Mountains of Australia. Their journey would open up new lands for settlement and exploration. By June 6th, the trio successfully crossed the Blue Mountains and returned home. Their achievement marked a turning point in the exploration of Australia's interior. On July 13th, missionaries Adoniram Judson and his wife Anne Hasseltine Judson arrived in Burma. Their work would lay the foundation for Christian missionary efforts in Southeast Asia. On July 23rd, Sir Thomas Maitland was appointed as the first governor of Malta, transforming the island from a British protectorate to a de facto colony. In September, Robert Southey was named Poet Laureate of the United Kingdom, a prestigious honor that recognizes contributions to literature and poetry. On September 4th, the name of Germany's national card game, Skat, appeared for the first time in the gaming records of Hans Karl Leopold von der Gabelentz. This game would go on to become a cultural staple in Germany. On October 14th, after a ceremony in Venezuela, Simón Bolívar was given the title of El Libertador, the Liberator. This honor reflected his pivotal role in the fight for South American independence. From October 24th to November 5th, Persia and Russia signed the Treaty of Gulistan, ending the Russo-Persian War. Persia ceded modern-day Georgia, Dagestan, and most of Azerbaijan to Russia, reshaping the region's political landscape. On December 8th, Ludwig van Beethoven's Symphony No. 7 premiered in Vienna alongside his work Wellington's Victory. The concert was a benefit for soldiers wounded at the Battle of Hanau, showcasing Beethoven's genius and humanitarian spirit. Also in 1813, Mathieu Orfila published his groundbreaking work Traité des Poisons, formalizing the field of toxicology. His research laid the foundation for modern forensic science. Finally, around this time, George E. Clymer invented the Columbian Press, a revolutionary printing press that would be used to print newspapers worldwide, transforming the spread of information. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.